We go, we're live. All right, so today I have one of the best coaches in the planet and a good friend, Mr. Brandon Gibson. If you don't know him, he's just like the coach from John Jones, the baddest fighter in the planet. So, Brandon, I know you don't do this as much, so I really appreciate you taking the time with me.
Yeah, you're a good friend, and I'm excited to talk with you today. And thank you for having me on.
All right, so let's start with the most obvious subject, which is last week's fight, right? So Jones, it's like the 15th title defense, right?
Yeah, that was our 15th title fight. Yeah, yes.
How crazy is that? I kept every post you made and every post Jones made. I made a comment like hashtag like making history because that's what really it's about, right?
And it's been more than a decade's worth of work to be competing at this level. We stuck together as a team through many trials and tribulations. So I feel very honored to be a part of this team and to be fighting consistently now and to be setting these records because this is something we always knew Jones was capable of.
So and what you say is very important, the team word, because there was some tough waters for a few years in a row, and that shows the loyalty on both sides, right? Like
Absolutely.
you sticking with him and him sticking with you, because it could be very easy for him just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go to Florida and start over somewhere else where just it could really go like both ways, right? It's like and the team always stayed strong and together.
Yeah, even during times that we thought that there was a possibility that, Jones could be suspended for a long period of time, it didn't matter because as a coach, it's not about the competition. It's not about the wins or losses. It's about the relationship, the brotherhood, and us helping each other become stronger men, better husbands, better fathers. That to me, that's what coaching in martial arts is really all about. So there was never a time during any of those trials that we thought just from a business perspective. It was like, no, we're always going to be here. We're always going to have this brotherhood, always be united. And we believed in each other, and, we were able to persevere through it all and get to, these fights and back on a good streak. And John has become even that much more of an amazing martial artist during this time.
And it's like he come back. It's so strong. It's so impressive. Like he was always an impressive guy. Look, listen, you feel you look back and go through the list of the names he fought and how he fought. I was just talking with Robin Black a couple of days ago, and we were talking about Jones, right? And he didn't want to get into the hey, who won, how was the score. He's like, look, the judges scoring it's flawed to begin with, and like it's never gonna be exact science, but it's very important that stays separate from the entity UFC and Bellator, that right. So it's important that it stays its own separate organization. But and we were talking, say, look, looking back, say, is it fair to say that Jones is becoming like the Floyd Mayweather of MMA, right? Because he's doing some amazing stuff, and it's not about like war, like getting like 40 punches in the face and punching the guy, because like you never get like a long career by doing that, right?
Yeah, I was saying last week how I felt, especially the Thiago Santos fight, was a defensive masterpiece.
Yes.
And just like Floyd Mayweather, he has so many amazing highlight knockouts, but I think it's taking the fans a long time to really, the majority of fans, like the casual fans, to appreciate his level of defense. And I feel like in mixed martial arts, Jones has that high level defense. He can put you away. He has a lot of power. He has finishing tools in his submission, in his ground and pound striking. But Jones is also very unhittable. You know, he's the hardest person to take down in the light heavyweight division. He's very hard to hit, and his defense stays consistent throughout the fight.
Yeah.
He's just as hard to hit in round 5 as he was in round 2.
Yes, and I just think it's amazing, and that's the one thing I really like watching that fight from last week and all that talk. I was like, oh, he was 3-2 to raise, and he was really not, because people forget to look, and who taught me that? It was Paulo, right? We were watching fights together. And I was like, oh, he's getting beat up. He's like, oh, no, look, who's controlling the octagon?
Yes.
And who's moving forward all the time? There's not a second. I'm just going to be fair, and like maybe round 1, because that's usually what takes Jones, right? Like he studies the guy, he downloads the information on round 1, and then it's over. So if there's a chance for anyone to ever do it, it's going to be in round 1. And I think Dominic really tried to do that. He came charging, and that's when Jones was really defensive. But after that, it's just pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure. Listen, you can punch, but if you're walking backwards, you're really just trying to defend yourself.
That's it. It's very hard to win with your back against the fence.
Yeah, and he's a master of that, right? So like he's
the best pressure.
He's not getting hit. He's not getting hit, and his pressure in controlling the octagon, and
it's brilliant. It really is, and it's relentless, and it is exhausting to be up against a competitor like Jones, especially in championship rounds where he is just continuing to be in your face. Your back is on the fence. You're spending so much energy trying to circle off, and then John has so many great tools to cut the cage off too, like his spinning back kick and corralling you with hooks, and as the fight went on and Dominic became that much more evasive, John was able to open up that much more of his arsenal.
Yes, for sure. And so we as Brazilians, we were all cheering for a possible rematch with Thiago Santos. And there was always that conversation. So, what if Thiago Knee didn't blow up? What could happen on that fight? I was like, well, it would pretty much be the same, right? The pressure will stay the same and everything. You just gotta watch for the big right hand that comes from Thiago.
Thiago was a very dangerous opponent. One of the most dangerous I feel like we've ever fought, because he had power in both hands and in both legs. And he was creative. He was ultra explosive, very fast, very powerful. So that was a fight that we took very seriously and had to stay very aware the whole entire 5 rounds.
Yes. And that was the one thing I always thought, like, let's say that there's 5 rounds for Thiago to try to land one good shot.
Yes.
That's all it's going to take, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was really a masterpiece of work with Jones. And again, I don't want to compare with Mayweather because it's a different sport, but it's just like the style, and for reference is easy to.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think Jones, the last decade, we were known for all these explosive moves and the suplex and the spinning elbows and these great wars against the former champions and the legends and the Hall of Famers.
Yes.
I think in this chapter of his career, the subtle movements, he's becoming so refined. Each feint, each forward pressure, each strike, each defensive movement is so well polished.
There was a moment there that I think Dominic shot like 30 punches, and Jones was like his hand down, and just it was awesome. It's awesome to see it, right? I think so. Kenny Florian, they do a podcast with John Anik, right? So I was listening to his breakdown, and he's the one say, look, I watched that fight like 4 times, and it's very like how can I put it, like it's the impression is that Dominic is really getting Joe in trouble, but those shots are not landing. It's like it's just like the movements, and it's big movements, and you really look, it's like he's defending them all. So and that's kind of, let's say, like the judges did not do a bad job. And then Joe Anik says like worst case scenario that he could score was a draw. Say that there's even a talk that the second round was not even Dominic's.
Yeah, and in the corner that night, I thought we had round number 2. Winklejohn said no, we had number 3 for sure. We knew we had 4 and 5.
Yes.
I knew it was a close fight. Rewatching it as a team, I even think the judge that gave John rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5.
It was nothing too crazy.
Because 2 and 3 were so close, and exactly, like when you watch it again, you see that Dominic's, his explosive combination, high volume, was for short durations, and John was able to miss them all and then get right back to pressuring.
Yes.
And right back to picking Reyes apart.
Yeah.
It was a competitive fight. Reyes definitely, was ready for the early moments. Like when the bell rang, he was ready and he came out swinging. But he wasn't very prepared for the championship rounds and the deep waters where John really took him, and he didn't have much answers in rounds 4 and 5.
But that's like everyone that goes against John. If he gets there, it's really like the guy is just really standing there because he's a warrior. But it's not like he's gonna threat or anything.
Right.
Those are always John's rounds, right? It's crazy.
But I'm excited that we have all of these amazing contenders and challengers like Thiago Santos and Smith and Reyes and maybe now Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, but the big talk was Corey Anderson, right? Like everyone's like,
yeah.
"Oh, Corey's the next in line." It's like, hey, look, Corey, it's from Renzo here. I trained there many times, and so he's part of the Renzo Gracie team and stuff. So the expectations were super high because even Jones brought it up, right? Say, look, it's time to give Corey a chance. He's been in the mix for a while, and I had in the back of my mind, you don't say it out loud, not to offend anyone, right? But I was like, yeah, it's not gonna be that easy.
Blachowicz has a lot of power, and when he put down Rockhold and broke his jaw, I mean that was a force of power.
Yes.
And the short right hook that he caught Anderson last night was brutal with the follow-up ground and pound. That was a great performance, and it was in our city, in our backyard.
I know, right? That's what. I was thinking about you. I saw on your Instagram, like you were like almost like cage side. I was like, oh, that's a great night of fights, and John was there, and I love the end. Like he pointed at Jones, and Jones was like, "Come, let's do it, bro." That's the beauty about John, right? Like he's ready for anyone.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely, and we're gonna keep him lined up. We're excited for this year and challenges that lie ahead, and whether it's rematches or new challengers or maybe an eventual move to heavyweight as well.
Yes, that's what I want to touch on that too. So that's what everyone's been talking about lately. Maybe like a what do you call it? like a catchweight fight with Adesanya, or maybe listen, me as a fan, I'm not an analyst, I'm not a professional by any means, right? It's like I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, so that's all my martial arts experience. I just don't think it might happen for the views and stuff like that. It's a fun fight to watch, but he's just gonna run him over in like quick. The difference in size and power is just like, again, putting my friend on the talk, Paulo Costa. I was like, I think that guy made such a bad call fighting Romero before Paulo, because it's not going to be an easy one for him. I really think that the title fight now is going to be Paulo and Romero again for the rematch.
Maybe it's an intriguing matchup. Yoel brings so many strengths, and his wrestling is unmatched, and he's always dangerous. Like he has so many third round knockout, explosive movement finishes, like jumping knees and big uppercuts. It's gonna be a great fight.
And he's very
cool. Can he keep the range? Can he keep mixing it up? Can he keep being the matador and make Romero the bull? It's gonna be
he's a fighter that brings up like a lot of tools, but I don't see him having like a knockout power. You watch his fight with Gastelum, he knocked him out, but he probably landed like 300 other punches before that, so he could get to that point.
Yeah, he's a sniper. He's very good with his angles and his volume and his rhythm changes, and Romero is just going to bring vicious power every punch, and he's ready for wars. And like his fight with Costa and so many of these other greats, like in Whitaker, it shows how tough he is.
Yes. There was a moment. Paulo told me that there was a moment on that fight. I think it was round 2. Paulo was against the cage, and Romero was against the cage, and Paulo was coming up with a pressure. Then Romero kind of like looks a little bit. It was like a 1 second. He looks down and he points, and Paulo, he said like, I just kind of moved my eyes for 1 second, like just like, what the hell is this guy doing? And I look and he charged at me. So that's the kind of thing that Romero does, right?
The veteran move.
Yeah, it's like, what's that? It's like, what? It's a boom. It's like, oh shit, yeah, you could lose a fight with that, man. So there's a potential moving up, and that would be a fight against Stipe.
Yeah, perhaps. We'll see what happens with Stipe in DC and what opportunities we have at light heavyweight, but I think that's becoming more and more of a possibility. And John will walk around in the 230s, and he's quick to put on muscle and size with his strength and conditioning program. He works very hard on that. But also making 205 is not a challenge for us. Like this last weight cut was one of the easiest we've ever had. Very, very smooth, no suffering.
That's
and I
awesome.
think his energy and his strength showed in fight night as well.
That's awesome. It's a great. It's awesome to have this many options in the game, because we know, and Jones already said that he wants probably like 3 more fights this year or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I could see us fighting 2 to 3 more times.
Yeah, so he's been doing great and not taking a lot of damage. So that's key, and that's gonna make sure we can see Jones for like a bunch more years performing at the highest levels.
That's the goal. We don't want him taking damage. We want him fighting all these top contenders, continuing to add to his legacy. We just broke the title for the most UFC, or we just broke the record for the most UFC title fights. Something we all take a lot of pride in, and we surpassed the great Georges St. Pierre, who was one of my former teammates and one of Coach Jackson's students. So, a lot of humility comes along with this great title.
And it's awesome because there's so much more ahead. Like you're talking, like George already retires and John is on his prime. So it's like, hey, we got a lot more to see it.
Yeah, I could see John breaking all the records. He's not even far behind another one of my former students, Cowboy Cerrone, for the all-time UFC wins record. So I see us taking that goal as well one day.
I want to just you saw that fight, of course, right? And I keep touching on a subject because it was something so amazing, that fight with Conor McGregor, and how that whole thing developed. And I was talking to Robin Black, and we were like, I say, what amazed me was how honest was Cowboy after explaining what happened, right? It's like shit, he came, and I was like, oh my God, he just fucked me up with his shoulder, and then I take a step back, head kick me, and the fight's over. I just could not understand what was going on. What?
Yeah, it was a wild fight, right? Like how the Conor's comeback and Cowboy back at 155, and how these two have been on parallel roads for a long time, and now they're finally going to cross paths. And I enjoyed the build up.
Very respectful, by the way, right? Like there was no Conor nonsense. He was very. People are kind of actually like, oh, this is kind of boring for a fight week with Conor, right?
Yeah, but I think a lot of guys want to get into that with Conor, and Cowboy's, he's respectful and he's a businessman and he understands these things. It was rare that Cowboy ever had animosity, and he never did well when he had it.
Yes.
Fight like with Diaz or RDA or some of these guys. He never did well with that. But if he kept it light and playful and respectful, there was an opportunity that his mind frame at least could be very strong going into it. And I didn't work with Cowboy on this fight. I haven't worked with him since the Leon Edwards camp, but stylistically, Conor brings so much trouble. His power, his range, his accuracy, and he's very versatile. Some of Cowboy's coaches had mentioned during the lead up that Conor only had a left hand, and that's all they had to worry about. I think that's very short-sighted.
That's
Connor has
true.
so many great tools. He can spin well. He can grapple. He can scramble. Amazing knees. Amazing kicks. Um,
And,
he'll switch
and,
stance.
and I think he turns on fight night like
That's it.
nobody, right?
That's the biggest thing is he's ready for those big bright lights and the big moments. And not that Cowboy isn't, but there's levels to it. Connor's been under these extremely bright lights for years now, and yeah, it was a great spectacle. I enjoy MMA when it's at its pinnacle, and I think that was
Yes.
one of those fights. And Connor came out and put on an amazing performance, and Cowboy was respectful, and
And
um,
he,
I enjoyed it.
there was so much on the table for Connor too, right? Because we were talking about that. That's the comeback coming from two losses, right?
Yeah,
The Mayweather, which it doesn't count as a loss because it was something magical.
right?
But then there's the Khabib loss, and then like this guy's coming back with all the talk, and something happens and he loses that fight to Cowboy. That mystique,
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of pressure on McGregor. And Cowboy was a very tough fight to take. Cowboy's leg kicks are phenomenal. He has amazing wrestling and grappling. So there was
His
a lot
head
of
kicks, the
there.
most head kicks knockout in the company.
Yeah. So it was a dangerous fight for McGregor to take as well.
Crazy, right? Crazy fight.
Yeah.
So I want to go back 2, maybe 3 weeks now for that Bellator card with Cyborg, right?
Yes.
We had Aaron Pico in,
That's my
and
guy.
it was so great to see him back there. And we exchanged a couple of messages, and I'm gonna bring this up because that's how big of a fan I am, and I don't understand like the whole 360 spectrum around what's going on. So I'm like, hey coach, so what is going on? Because he's coming from a couple of losses. Say, what is this BS that they take him out of the main card and just put him on the prelim card? This guy's a beast. He doesn't deserve that. And then they say, hey, this was us, right? Kind of like,
Yeah.
let's hit the brakes a little bit.
Aaron was just thrown right into the deep waters immediately, and he's such an incredible prospect, right? With his wrestling pedigree and his boxing competition, and he's just been raised since he was a young boy for combat. Um, Very determined mindset. Aaron's work ethic is championship caliber. He always does the extra. He studies. He's so hungry. It's inspiring for me as a coach to train Aaron. It motivates me that much more. And I think I even take fuel and fire from Aaron, and I could use it for Jones. He's brought a lot to the gym. But his fight in Madison Square Garden over the summer against Adam Borks. Borks is undefeated. He's tough.
Was that the one that he was like this close to knock him out and he got caught with a punch? Yes.
Flying?
Yes,
Flying.
yes,
Very
yes.
very competitive bout. But Aaron, by his like fifth fight, his combined opponent's record was like 120. Like he'd been fighting very high level, experienced fighters from his first bout on, and it was like, let's take a step back and let's fight a guy like Daniel Carey, who's 7-3, a great wrestler, great striker, had some big wins against like Gaston Bolanos
Yeah.
already in Bellator. But let's take it down a notch. Let's not fight every champion, every killer. Like, let's really have a camp where we get to focus on the tools that we need Aaron to develop and make him feel that much more comfortable with our gym. So we had like a 7-month camp.
Wow.
It was a great camp, and we were able to really learn a lot and add so many more tools. And I think it showed in this fight. Like Aaron didn't take a shot; he was able to set up great takedowns.
It was amazing. He was just like plain amazing. The performance it was spectacular.
So Aaron's only 23. We have a very long road ahead, but
right, he's a kid. Like, oh my
yeah. But with all of the mental tools and the heart he has, and the physical abilities and his work ethic, I know that he's going to become a champion. So we just need to take it a little easy, tap the brakes some, and he'll be right back there on the main card against big guys here soon. But we're thinking long-term game with Aaron.
I thought when you told me that, I thought it was a genius. I was like, oh, now I get it. It's like, oh, this is perfect, right? This is and I use the example of my friends here, Neiman and Robson Gracie. We have now Keon Gracie and Tiago Rella. They the organization kind of like builds them up slowly, like putting like other fighters at the same kind of level and experience, right? No, don't get me wrong. It's like now not throwing those guys easy fights. We're talking experience, right? So
Like we know technically from a martial arts perspective that Aaron is on that very high level, but there's so many more things that go into competing, right? Under the bright light. So let's get the good reps in where he can understand the game plan and he can hear our voices and he feels so well repped and rehearsed. And it's very similar to Jones' approach. Like we're not really into taking very quick fights. We like being able to break guys down and take our time and build up a strong camp. And that's where we've had the results that we, over the last decade.
Yes. How much of footage you guys watch when you're fighting someone? Do you go through a lot? I seen some stuff with you sitting down with him watching like a screen and stuff like that, and that's something that's been talked about that it really works. Some guys don't believe on that. They say, look, that the fighters the styles change so quick that you might be watching like stuff that is not even that same fighter anymore.
Yeah, I think it's not always like technique or combo or moves that we're looking for as much as it is their mindset when they break, how they do in deep waters, what are their go-tos when you have no tools left and you're hurt and you're desperate, what are your tools then? A lot of it's psychological that we watch for. It's not always just they like this cross combination. Yeah. It's knowing, and we watch interviews and we try to understand their psyche, and every part of this game is warfare. Like we'll use their interviews against each other. It's everything on the approach, on the lead up, into the fight, into the social media, or into the behind the scenes footage. It's very well calculated.
And it's amazing because sometimes that's all it makes the difference, right? Just the mindset getting in there. Because I always say, look, there's two high level professionals. It doesn't matter if it's John Jones on one corner and another guy, like the other guy is also a professional fighter. If Jones is not ready, Jones going to lose that fight because there's a professional on the other side, right? So it's like that sometimes that 1% on the mindset, kind of like Connor, right, that we were just talking about. It clicks on and it's like, all right, it's time for this. And I feel just fucking great. And Robin Black says, look, maybe that guy didn't sleep well last night. And that's all it takes.
There's so many factors. There's so many factors that are in our control and out of our control. So we just try to learn from our mistakes. And, we were talking on fight week that between Greg Jackson, myself, Israel Martinez, Tusa Alencar, that there is so much coaching experience as individuals and as a team. Like hundreds, if not thousands of UFC fights, not just MMA fights. And
MMA fights. Between all of you guys, that's crazy, right?
And so to have all of that knowledge, plus we're so cohesive as a unit, knowing whose turn it is to talk, a shared vision, a shared mindset, like that's such a powerful force in itself to have a corner like that.
Yeah.
If I was another fighter and I looked up and I saw Greg Jackson and Winklejohn and Tusa.
And you.
I'm just kind of like a nerdy guy with glasses. Maybe I'm not the most intimidating force, but knowing that so much work has been put in to make a game plan to defeat me, like I would have to have my blinders on and not think about that.
That's right. That's right.
It's a powerful thing.
And it's a super powerful thing. And I guess you guys working together for so long, it makes that like say, listen, at this time you go and talk to him. It's not my time, and you guys are able to recognize that.
Very natural too, and in the corner, who's shouting instruction, what the instruction is. None of us speak over each other. It's very fluid. On the warm up, on the fight week, in the camp, everybody knows their role and is very, very strong in their roles.
It's a teamwork because. What when we started the podcast, I was talking to Paulo on some of that stuff, and he was going over some of that with me. I said, look, it's very common for a fighter to bring like a striking coach, and then there's a jiu-jitsu coach or a wrestling coach. So the wrestling coach is like, take him down, And the jiu-jitsu coach is like, go for the submission. And the striking coach is like, stand up. And,
Yeah.
and because it kind of like shows they work, right? It's like, hey, you see, he submitted the guy. I'm his jiu-jitsu coach.
Yeah. And it's a battle to not have that pride or that ego or ownership as a coach. Like, we know our fighter is going to carry a little piece of us in their style and in their approach, no matter what. And if John goes out there and gets a double leg and a ground and pound finish right away, maybe that's not an area I trained him in, but we still as a team prepared to find the easiest path to victory.
Yeah.
And so we all pride in it. Absolutely.
And I think it's awesome because it shows that, because it carries the flag, not the names.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
It's not like, oh, did you see that hook? Oh, he got that from Brandon Gibson. It's like, no, oh, he's from Jacksons MMA. Right? So it brings the whole team name up.
That's it. And that's what, and it's always a challenge because there are egos and personalities, especially in this game. And I think I've even had moments of failure in these realms myself. But as I grow and learn more and become more mature, it's that much more. I'm such a small part in this link, and it is for the greater glory of the fighter and the team. But it doesn't matter because Monday we're right back in the gym helping the next player work towards their goals and their dreams.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna be coaching someone last night, and so take us to like fight week, and you go to like a high profile fight like that. Do you take a week off? Do you take a couple of weeks off, or is right back at the gym on Monday?
Yeah, Monday night, all the coaches were right back in, and I was helping Devin Clark prepare for his fight, which he was victorious in last night. There's always the next goal, and we don't really sit around and reflect on our accomplishments. We're right back, focused on the next one. Coming from a great fight like Jones and Reyes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we were right all back in the gym. And John was back in on Monday night. And I think that's a true testament to his championship caliber mindset. He wanted to come in Monday night, 8 o'clock at night, and study tape and see what we did right, see what we did wrong, and start thinking of the next goal.
It's crazy, right? How he doesn't. It never unplugs, right? It's like, all right, look, let me take a couple of weeks off here and there now, and it's.
Yeah, no chilling on a beach. He was right back in the gym.
Yeah, I had Diego Ferreira who fought Anthony Pettis, and it's like amazing result, especially for him. I think it just boosts his career up so much. And he was telling me, I say, look, we fought Saturday night. Sunday I was on a plane to I think he's in Houston. Say I was on the plane to Houston or driving back to Houston or whatever. It's like Monday I was already here at my gym teaching my class because that's what I love.
I love it, and that's the true martial arts Bushido approach. That's the way of the warrior. I love it.
I was like, so no time off, no vacation. It was like, no, I'm teaching. This is my vacation. This is what I love to do.
I'm sure there'll be a time when I'm an old man and I can tell my grandchildren all of the stories and the legends of these fights.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Right now I'm young and strong, and, I love my team, Jackson Wink. And so, I would be doing a disservice to the team if I wasn't back in there Monday after a win or a loss.
Yeah.
Like, there's no to sulk. There's only time to grow and improve. And that's how we've always approached it. And that's how my mentors, Greg Jackson and Mike Winkeljohn, have been in this game. There was never a time that they had a big victory and we're out of the gym celebrating on a beach. It's just work.
That's crazy, right? It's beautiful to watch the level of teamwork that's put on something like that. And I try, especially when you are on the corner and stuff like that. I kind of like pay more attention because I know you and I admire the work. So I kind of like try to watch, and it's just amazing. Sometimes you're right there on his face. Sometimes you're behind the cage just talking. And
it's a special thing to be a part of. It really is. I feel blessed and privileged to be surrounded by so many great men. It's been inspiring in all aspects of my life.
Look, I want to talk about this great man right here.
This
is one of my favorite fighters ever, Mr. Carlos Condit. So what's going on with him? What's next?
Carlos had an eye injury in December, so He's had some successful surgeries. He's recovering.
He had a fight schedule, right? And
yeah, Mickey Gall. We were gonna fight Mickey Gall in Washington D.C. and Carlos, took an eye injury in training, and so he's been off. But he is a man of many skills. He is beloved in our city of Albuquerque, and he's an amazing chef, and he's into coffee roasting. And
I saw it on his Instagram. He's doing some coffee stuff too, right?
Yeah, so Carlos is the guy that's going, just like in his mixed martial arts career, he was at the highest level. He was a champion. Anything Carlos chooses to put his mind to, he's going to reach that level. But he's in the gym too. He's teaching some striking classes. He's still rolling some jiu-jitsu. We hit pads on Tuesday night and had a great dinner afterwards. So he's a brother and a friend to me. And he's doing great. So I know in 2020 we'll see him back in the cage.
Oh, that's awesome. That's what I want to ask. Like, so he is coming back, right? Because he's been coming from not so great results lately for whatever reason, but he's always has that thing like say, I know I'm gonna come back stronger, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna improve, and he has all the tools for that. He's not by any means like a stuck in time fighter, let's put it this way.
No, he's still evolving for sure, and competing ferociously with a lot of the next generation guys. Carlos has all the tools, he really does, and I'm confident that he could put together an amazing streak in the UFC once again. He's a dangerous fighter. As when I was his teammate and even now as his coach, when I spar and move with him, he gives me more problems than any fighter in the gym. Just my style against his does not.
It's not easy, right? Well. Yeah, there's a lot of that too, right? There's a lot of that too. I think going back to Jones, I think it's the problem with the Cormier. I just think Jones is such a bad style for Cormier because Cormier it's a freaking monster. Right? He goes out on heavyweight and he puts out heavyweights. And something, I think there's a lot of mental stuff, but there's also such a bad style that Jones brings to him because it's like if they fight 10 times, I think Jones got it 10 times. It's just one of those cases, right? Just Aldo and Max Holloway.
Yeah,
it's like they fought it twice, and he was like Aldo did not even belong there with him. It's crazy, and you're talking Jose Aldo was like.
Yeah, and we'll see that sometimes studying on tape and knowing a fighter we train and their tools, and it's like, man, this is a very difficult matchup, and we have few paths to victory, and we have to be super disciplined because there's so many areas to let the other fighter just naturally be. It's such a challenging game. It is.
It's amazing, right? It's so and now we were talking about that. It's like. Just that not knowing, and I bring that up every podcast because I think it's just a great line that Joe Rogan says, like, look, you up there and you zig when you should have zag, the fight is over.
Yeah.
And that's what makes so amazing, right? Like you have John Jones against, I don't know, like the 30th on the rank and the guy's 3 fights in and Jones, if he unplugs for a second and don't do the right thing, it's gone.
Yeah. So it takes so much work to be able to build up to that capacity to stay focused and not make a mistake on 1 second in a 25-minute fight.
Crazy, right? I have a friend. We Brazilians, we big into soccer. I was never like a huge soccer fan, but I watch it and I like it. And I was telling him, and we were talking like he's so into MMA as well. And I was like, look, I feel like it's a fucking World Cup every like fight night. Like last Saturday, Jones is walking in. I was like, ooh, it's like it's crazy, right? And we are so lucky that we get to see this every other weekend.
Right? It's an amazing sport. It truly is.
So what else we got coming up from your gym? I know Michelle Watterson. It's fighting soon.
We're really excited about these Bellator prospects we're building. You know, we've spoken about Pico.
Yeah.
We also of Patchy Mix, who has just been on a tear in Bellator. He's been choking out everybody, and he may now get to fight for the vacant 35-pound title, I hope. We'll see what happens, but he's a backpack. He's hit the Suliov stretch. He's hit rear naked chokes on everybody. He just fought on the Bellator Risen card and got a great guillotine finish. This kid will take your head off. He is so good. The gym is very excited about him. We also have a young light heavyweight, Christian Edwards. He's 2-0 in Bellator.
On Bellator, okay.
Great knockouts. We're building a great young generation right now at Jackson Wink, so we're excited for these guys. You know, we have the superstars like Jones and Condon and Holm.
Yeah.
But we're building the next generation of superstars too.
That's awesome. And Bellator, and we were also talking about that the other day. Bellator, it's growing so fast, and it's such a nice pace too, right? Scott Coker is doing such a great job, and it's not his first wave on that. So he comes from Strike Force, and it was an awesome event, right? So
they found so much talent like Cormier and Tyrone Woodley and all of these great UFC champions. And I feel like Coker and Rich Cho, they're trusting in big gyms like ours to say, okay, who's your best prospect? Let us sign them right now at 0-0 or 1-0, and let's build them right together.
And we'll find someone at 0-0 to fight them too, and that's so important, right?
Exactly. Not just throw them right into the wolves.
Yeah.
And, allow us to really build some stars. And they know if it's somebody like Greg Jackson, Mike Winklejohn, or myself saying this kid has it, that they're going to trust in us.
Yeah. I was just talking on a very similar example, like what happened to Kron Gracie, who's a guy who's it's a beast. It's like so tough mentally and there, but he should not be fighting Cub Swanson on his second UFC fight.
Right. And Cub has 20-something Zuffa UFC.
Yes, probably like 15 main events and this.
Yeah. And an amazing. That was a heck of a fight, though.
It was crazy, right? But still, that just shows how freaking strong mentally Kron is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, he should be fighting guys with the same kind of experience that he has, like 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, not a freaking monster like Cub Swanson.
Yeah.
But listen, it was no easy night for Cub either. But
no.
I think they could do a little better, and that's why I appreciate Bellator so much, because like my friends here, Hobson Gracie is an amazing fighter, and the Gracie name brings so much eyes to it, right? They can just throw this guy like co-main event, Hobson Gracie against whatever, and it brings a lot of attention, but they're not doing themselves a favor.
No,
because they're gonna kill the kid like as quick as they brought him up.
Yeah, give him a few fights, and then he'll be very comfortable when the big lights are on and he's at the main event and has all the press and media and all the other parts outside of, what goes on in the cage, right? Like it takes time to build that business side up as well. Yeah,
no, you're right, absolutely right. They gotta get used to and everything. Like Hobson was telling me, something happened on that card, and he was so relaxed, and they're like. He said he couldn't find his dressing room, and that's the kind of stuff that happens, right, with the inexperience. So he said when he finally found his dressing room and he sat down, someone came and said, "Let's go, it's time." He's like, "Oh, all right, it's time." And he walked right in, and it's like, "Okay, let's see." He was actually saying, "Look, it was actually good because I didn't even have time to build that expectation, Mm-hmm. So, but that's the kind of thing like you get it with time, right? Like you've been to the place before. Or you've been in that situation 1,000 times before,
and then all of those areas become that much more comfortable, and it really is about being able to enjoy the stressful moments and enjoy each part of the process and be calm in the fire and comfortable in uncomfortable situations. You could be so slick on the pads and great jiu-jitsu and all that, but there's so much more to this game, and that's why it's important to really develop these prospects right and take your time and for coaches and managers and promoters not to be so quick to rush everybody right to the big moments.
Yeah. So how is it? How is it like your week? Do you only train with professional fighters, or you teach classes? I know you have a full-time job too, right? Which is not coaching.
Yeah, I do have a full-time job. So 7 to 4, I'm going and I'm helping serve our community.
That's amazing.
And then right after I get off, I go into the gym. And we have such a great team of coaches. There's Joey Villasenor, who's a famous Pride and Strike Force veteran, Mike Winklejohn, Greg Jackson. So many great up-and-coming coaches like Andrew Tennyson. He's a brilliant fighter. He's an LFA. He just hit like an Aoki Plata, Gogo Plata choke. He's in our Gracie Baja partners, Barata and Tusa.
Yeah.
Great wrestling coaches. We have such a strong team. None of us could do it by ourselves. But yeah, I go in every night, and depending on the night, I have some amateurs I train, some pros I train all the way up to Jones. I teach a striking class on Wednesday nights, and we usually have about 40 or 50 amateurs and
That's
pros.
awesome.
It's a great mix. You'll see UFC fighters in there, and then guys that it's like their first week in the gym.
How great is that? Like for them, right? Just being there, it's a privilege, right? It's like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Feel like, my first day at Renzo's, like I'm walking, just like very shy, and like Gordon Ryan's rolling over there, and Khabib is on the cage there, and George St. Pierre walks by me. I grab his eye. I was like, oh, we gotta take a picture. I don't do this, but it's freaking George St. Pierre. Come here, and he's like super fun. It's like it's amazing, right? I'm not even there to train. I'm just there watching a friend of mine that's a sparring day or something, and I'm just like, what's it? Oh my God, this shit is amazing. It's like free fight night.
It is, and and there's probably not too many other sports that are as accessible as MMA. Like I couldn't go on the courts and just play next to Federer.
Right? Exactly. That would never ever happen. Or just like go play soccer with Neymar.
Shoot with LeBron.
Yeah.
You could go to certain academies and see. You could come into Jackson Wink in Albuquerque and share the mats with Holly Holm or John Jones, or you could go into Hinzo's in New York and see just a plethora of amazing champions coming through.
Right, like the John Danaher's, I think one of the most famous classes, like Tuesday, 7:00 in the morning, and it's from blue belts up. So you're a blue belt, you get your train like right next to Gordon Ryan, which is like the pinnacle of jiu-jitsu in the planet, right? It's like, oh shit, it's like, what? This is like surreal. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of the best things just about martial arts in general, right? Like to be able to see these idols and heroes for so many, and just on the mats, just working and sweating blood, grinding. Yeah, not these private closed off trainings. Especially in Albuquerque. Albuquerque is such a fight town. We have, I think there's 4 or 5 gyms now here in town that have UFC caliber fighters. They're all branches off Jackson's at one point or another, but it's cool that this is a fight community. So you could walk into almost any gym here in town and see a UFC fighter.
That's awesome. So anyone who's ever visiting there, go check it out.
Sure.
Coach, it's Sunday. It's probably your only day off with the family. How's your boys?
Man, they're growing up too big, too quick. My
right?
youngest, he's a soccer star, man. He's getting him playing for some futsal and getting fast feet going.
Oh, that's awesome. That's huge.
So I'm not a soccer player. I'm terrible. He laughs at me when I try to get around and play with him. He just schools me.
I was always so bad because I was always too tall and I was like slow, and I was like the guy that everybody made fun of. But but listen, I was a good goalkeeper.
Hey, I like it.
All right, so look, I'm gonna let you go. And again, I follow your career very close, and I know what we're doing here now. It does not happen very often, so that makes me appreciate so much more. Thank you so much for doing this, especially like after fight week. And I bet you got like 1,000 calls asking for some time together. And I appreciate you doing this with me, man. Like it's a very, very, it's a true honor. And I'm a big fan.
Hey, obrigado, sangue bom.
Awesome. What's coach? All right, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. What's Instagram? How people can...
Oh, yeah. Six Gun Gibson.
Okay.
On Twitter, on Instagram, we're always putting up some cool videos, behind the scenes training, and maybe my thoughts and commentary on fight night every now and then. So yeah, check it out.
Awesome. Check it out at Six Gun Gibson. I'll make sure as soon as we post the episode, first the first one is gonna be up in English, and then midweek, I'm gonna re-upload a version with Portuguese subtitles. And I'll make sure I'll tag you so everybody can follow. It's a great Instagram. Like again, you see backstage on the biggest fight. Like you see John Jones like warming up, and it's just an awesome account to follow. Follow my friend. Thank you so much, Coach. God bless you. God bless your kids, your family. Thanks again for the time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Happy Sunday, Coach. Thanks a lot, man.